As has been the case all season long, games every 3 days. The disappointment of Sevilla, we can bury that with a win against Forest. We responded pretty well after Newcastle with the games against Brentford and Everton. Can we do the same thing between Sevilla and Forest? We've obviously got the second leg coming up on Thursday, but this game here, it's going to be a tough one. Forest away, they are fighting for their life. Our away form this season has been poor. What are we going to do without Martinez and Varane? There are so many questions to ask and discuss for this starting 11. So I'm going to do it in this video. So make sure you do subscribe to United People's TV if you are new. But let me run through first the team news from Erik Ten Hag from his pre-match press conference. And he gave, well, not particularly an update on Lisandro Martinez. Now, we're hearing separate reports now coming out from Argentina that it's actually a metatarsal fracture, which would rule Martinez out for the rest of the season. It's not good. However, it could have been worse if that's the case. And we all feared an Achilles rupture as soon as he went down, and that's the sort of injury that can change a player's career. A broken metatarsal and is an inconvenience, but he will be back next season, fully back. So fingers crossed it is. I mean, that's the least bad scenario out of all of that. In terms of other players being available for selection, Ten Hag has said that we could get Shaw back in and we could get McTominay, both available. And I'll tell you what, Shaw, I think he's going to be playing left centre-back a little bit more often than not this season now, after Martinez is likely to miss the rest of the season. Nottingham Forest, all right? We played them a few times this season. We pumped them at home in the league. We pumped them away in the League Cup. And, you know, we breezed through the second leg at Old Trafford. Now, Nottingham Forest, their form is pretty woeful. 1 draw from the last 5 games. And that was there at home against Wolves. Their other home game there, they lost against Newcastle. 4 losses and 1 draw in the last 5 Premier League games. And they are in the relegation zone. This should be a game that Manchester United win on paper. However, those games don't exist in the Premier League. We know that. There is no straightforward game. And playing away at Forest, they're going to be looking at home games as how they survive this season. All right? So they're going to be looking to win this game on Sunday. Now, this was the team that started for United against Sevilla at home on, what was it? Thursday night. Of course it was Thursday night. And we played really, really well in that first half. Genuinely, it's one of the most complete 45 minutes I think we've played. Really good attacking dynamic football. That front three really worked together. Sabitzer getting 2 goals. It was just good movement. Martial was dropping down to the left. Everybody was linking up and moving well. However, there's now going to be changes for sure. And let's go back to the biggest change that's going to be happening. We are likely going to see the return. I didn't think we'd be seeing this in the Premier League ever again for Manchester United, if I'm being completely honest. But Martinez, I'll see you soon, honey. I already miss you. I think Martinez is going to go down there. I very much doubt that Varane is going to be risked. And I think we're going to be seeing the return of Lindelof and Maguire. Dudes, now's your time. Now is your time to show that you shouldn't just be sold. Now is the time to show you're good enough to play for Manchester United. Because it is now or never. I personally think it's never. With both of them, I don't think they're going to have long-term futures at the club. But we need them to step up. Seriously, I mean, they actually do physically need to step up. I do fear that United, with these two, will be playing a naturally deeper line, inviting a bit more pressure on us. But we need these two to step up. Ten Hag said this about them. He said, look, decent centre-halves. They have proved that in the past. And this season, we've got 4 or 5 very good centre-halves who can do the job. They can't do the same job that Varane and Martinez can. They just can't. And that's not being massively harsh. It's just a reality. But Varane and Martinez, don't think either of them are going to be fit. Well, I know Martinez isn't going to be fit, and I'm pretty sure that Varane won't be risked. Both of those will start. And Tyrell Malacia, man, I've seen some crazy takes on him after that Sevilla game. I think across the course of this season, I think he's been a pretty good signing. However, that was an abysmal performance from him. The decision-making to let that ball bounce. Overall, it was just it was the side that Sevilla kept attacking and attacking and attacking. It's got to be better than that. Forest, I imagine, will do the same if they're smart. Having watched that game against Sevilla. Attack down the left-hand side. It's going to probably be Malacia and Lindelof. So we're going to need our central midfielders to really drop in and help. So that's where there are definite questions to ask about the midfield. I personally think Malacia keeps his spot, and I think Wan-Bissaka keeps his spot. Who plays in midfield, though? You can let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll pull mine up now, because I definitely think Casemiro's keeping his place there. I don't know whether this is going to be the right game for Bruno Fernandes to play deep. Because there's one man I think will definitely start in that midfield. I've already said it was Casemiro, but I think Sabitzer keeps his place. Because Ten Hag has kind of shown, he showed with the McTominay, starting McTominay away at Newcastle in the more advanced role. He played him there because he had the form. Sabitzer just scored 2 goals against Sevilla, and United were great in the attack. I think Sabitzer keeps his place, which probably means Bruno plays there, and Bruno plays in that deeper role. But I worry about how this defense will set up, because it's going to be these two in defense, right? They're going to need more protection. When you've got Varane and Martinez, you can be a little bit looser. Bruno can just focus on bringing the ball forward and doing that deeper line playmaker role that he's loved so much in these last couple of games, because Brentford, Everton and Sevilla, none of them pressed us and gave him all the space in the world. And he's really thrived in that environment. I doubt he'll get that same sort of space against Nottingham Forest. But I do think he'll start. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fred come on in this game ahead of McTominay, or McTominay might not even be fit. But Fred will come on. Eriksen, of course, we've got to bring on too. I think both of those will sit on the bench. You could see Fred starting up where Sabitzer is, but given that Sabitzer scored 2, I'd be surprised if he gets left out of the team. So I'm actually going to keep that same midfield trio. Subs are going to be important, I mean, as has been the case all season. And it's in attack where I suppose the biggest question mark you've got around this starting 11 is, do you start Anthony Martial? Because Erik Ten Hag was spoken about him, and he said this. He said, maybe you can start again, but it's a risk. And we can't take that risk in this moment because we don't have so many options in the front line with Rashford and Garnacho injured. So we have to be careful. So Ten Hag pretty much saying there, he doesn't feel like he can risk starting Martial. He wants to start Martial. We all want Martial to be fit enough to start every Premier League game. It's just not possible. And I don't particularly see, it could be. You could get Martial for the first, because I think it's a case of that. It's pick or choose. Do you want Martial to play the first 60 minutes or the last 30 minutes? He chose the first 60 against Sevilla. He's saying here that it's a risk and he can't take that risk. So it may well be, and you might not like it, but it may well be that we see Weghorst coming in and Martial being used for the last 30 minutes rather than the first 60, which are likely to be more intense. It depends on what the situation is in the game. Ten Hag does have a natural instinct that he'd rather kill a game off, but we're not very good at killing games. That was what happened there against Sevilla. My gut instinct is telling me that Weghorst will come in and Martial will go to the bench, not because he didn't deserve to start. If he had the fitness, he'd be starting every game. But I think the Weghorst will come in. That's just what my spidey senses are telling me. And I think Anthony absolutely keeps his place on that right-hand side. I've enjoyed watching him in his last few games. I said it in the live show. I'll say it now. I think he's started to look a bit more dangerous. He's actually going on the outside of defenders sometimes. He's getting a good ability here. Man United being in this situation here, playing against the higher line of getting the ball, getting a 1-2, maybe a little touch around the corner and bursting down here with pace. Of course, when you've got Weghorst in the middle, you're not really going to have somebody who's going to be running to be on the end of it. So maybe United are going to have to play slightly differently. But Sabitzer, I think, will keep his role there. And Jadon Sancho, right? I find the Jadon Sancho situation really curious. Sometimes he's great. And then sometimes it just feels like the decision-making's not quite there. It's like this split-second decision, just a bit short. And I think against Brentford and Everton, I thought both Sancho and Anthony were sort of grown into themselves. And then Anthony was even better, probably. His best game of the week was probably against Sevilla. And then probably the worst was Sancho. That's why he went off. Nobody questioned him going off. But Garnacho's injured. Rashford's injured. Sancho keeps his place on that left wing. But I think we need a bit more from him there. I don't know. Am I being harsh on Sancho? I don't think I am. But you can let me know what you feel about Sancho's performance. If Garnacho or Rashford was fit, I think Sancho would probably drop to the bench and he'd be reintroduced and a little bit slow. But there really isn't much competition there. Too much choice for Erik Ten Hag. Who else could you play there? Well, you play Fred out of position. You could potentially put Pellistri there. Yeah, not really. I think you're starting with that front three. So the changes I'm making there, I'm bringing Varane and Lindelof in because of the injuries to, of course, Varane and Martinez. I'm bringing Weghorst in for Martial because I don't think he'll be risked. I think Ten Hag will look to use Martial for the last 30 rather than start him in this game. My prediction for this game is it's not going to be an enjoyable one. But I have to back United to beat Nottingham Forest. I have to. Maybe that's just naive confidence sort of thing. Oh, yeah, we'll beat Nottingham Forest. They're in a relegation scrap. They're going to be up for it. They really are, because it's their home games. They've got to win their home games if they're going to stay up this season. Simple as that. So this will mean more. It's going to be their cup. They're going to play like it's their cup final. And we've got this slap bang in between these Sevilla games. I'm hoping for I'm hoping that just like a gritty win. 2-1. That's going to be my prediction, is a 2-1. I'm not sure what to expect. It's not going to be good. Like the difference we're going to see when you play Maguire and Lindelof over Varane and Martinez is going to be night and day. And if Nottingham Forest press us well, could be a problem. Casemiro, we're going to need him to really screen that defence properly. Bruno's going to have to be defensively better than he probably normally is, and that might be a reason. I just can't see Bruno ever drop into the bench, but maybe it's a bit to drop and plays deeper. With Bruno playing a little bit further forward, that could happen. You let me know what your prediction for the game is. Mine's 2-1. You let me know who's in your predicted starting 11. But after the Sevilla game, we got to get this top 4, man. Top 4 is the priority of the season. As great as it would be to win silver with the Europa League and the FA Cup, it's all about the top 4. So these games are the most important. Let me know what you think in the comments below about a prediction and a starting 11.